welcome to my channel. In this tutorial I'm going to show you how I made this candy cane inspired cake that's perfect for any Christmas party, and there's a surprise inside as well. Let's hop into the tutorial. So here in front of me I have 4 layers of my ultimate chocolate cake. If you'd like to know the recipe, click on the I above, or I'll leave a link in the description box below. And what I did is replace the dark chocolate for an equal amount of white chocolate, so it gets a bit sweeter and it complements the flavor of the peppermint buttercream. And I've divided my batter into 4 different baking pans of 15 centimeter in diameter and baked it for about 35 minutes at 160 degrees Celsius. And I've already leveled off the top of the cakes. And then I made 1 batch of my Swiss meringue buttercream, divided into 2 portions and colored 1 white and 1 red, and I added some peppermint oil flavoring as well. So let's start to assemble the white chocolate and peppermint candy cane cake. So I'm going to build up my cake directly on my cake serving plate to make life a bit easier and I don't damage my buttercream when I'm moving it from my turntable onto my cake plate. Start with the first layer and place it in the middle, and then what we're going to do is make circles of buttercream, and when you slice the cake open you will get different layers of colors. So I start with red in the middle and then pipe a ring of white buttercream around, and then a ring of red buttercream, and try to pipe the rings as closely as possible without any gaps, because we can't smooth it out with a spatula or else the colors will blend into each other. And now you can stack your second layer of cake on top of this. So what I'd like to do is alternate the colors of the rings on the second layer. I started with a red circle on the first layer, so I'm going to start with a white circle on the second layer, and then just repeat the process throughout the whole cake. And now I'm going to start with a red circle again. And place my final cake layer on top. So as you can see, this step was really easy and really fast to do, but you get that ultimate wow effect when you slice into the cake and see all those different layers of red and white buttercream, and it gives a real festive look and a real candy cane look as well. And now we're going to decorate the outer part of the cake and make it even more look like a candy cane. So I'm going to transfer my cake serving plate onto a Lazy Susan so it's easier to spin around the cake, and I'm going to divide my red buttercream into 2 separate piping bags so I can get a thicker and a thinner striped effect with the red color. And I'll be right back. So here I have my 3 bags of peppermint buttercream. I have 2 piping bags of my red peppermint buttercream and 1 of my white peppermint buttercream. And as you can see, I've cut it into different widths. So my stripe will also get a different width on the outer part of the cake, and it gives a bit more interest to the look of the cake. But first of all, we need to get rid of the excess buttercream on the outside and just smooth it down with a cake scraper. So now we have a semi-smooth surface to start with, and we can start making stripes of buttercream on the outside. And I think I'm going to start with white. Just at the very bottom, pipe a ring around the cake. And you can make it pretty thick. We're going to smooth away the excess buttercream, but you don't want to get any crumbs on the finished look of the cake. Now I'm going to pipe a ring of red buttercream and then white. Just go all the way to the top, alternating between your red and white buttercream, and also alternating between your red buttercream with a wider tip and the smaller tip. And now I'm going to frost the top with red buttercream as well to make it a more seamless look with the side. So first we're going to smooth the top of the cake with the same cake scraper. Just get rid of the excess and try to get it as smooth as possible. It just really smells like peppermint. Can't wait to eat a slice. And now I'm going to use my larger cake scraper because I want it to go to the top of the cake, and this one is a bit too short and I won't get that nice sharp edge on top. So I'm starting at the side, gently press in and then smooth all the way around. You'll need to go around a few times so your buttercream will blend in nicely and will be perfectly smooth. Then I'm going to use my other cake scraper to drag the excess that rises to the top to the middle. So we need to chill this cake for about 30 minutes in the fridge before we proceed to the next step. And as you can see, it looks really cool already. It really looks like a candy cane, and I really like the different widths in the red buttercream as well. It gives a more interesting look to the cake. So I'm going to let it chill for now and prepare my ganache. The cake has been chilled for about 30 minutes in the fridge, and in the meantime I made some ganache. I made it with dark chocolate, and I'll leave the recipe and how I made it in the description box below if you want to check it out. And now it's time to decorate the cake, and it's my favorite part, so let's get into it. So I have my ganache in a piping bag because I like to control the drips that way, and I'm going to cut a small piece of the tip. And I'm going to start my drips. Get some more ganache on the top and then smooth it out with a palette knife. So now we're going to pipe our two colored rosettes on top. And for that you'll need a piping bag fitted with a Wilton 1M piping tip. And I have the two colors of buttercream in separate bags, and we're going to place that into one piping bag. And just squeeze until both colors come into the piping tip. And just start swirling some rosettes. Squeeze one more in between. So now we're going to decorate the cake with some candy canes, and I've also crushed up some candy canes. I just put a few whole candy canes in a Ziploc bag and just bashed them with a rolling pin until they were as fine as I wanted them to be. So let's decorate the cake. These candy canes could melt in the fridge, so I would advise you to put them on an hour before serving this cake so they won't melt into your buttercream. So this is how the cake turned out. I can't wait to cut into it to see the inside, but I want the swirls to chill up first in the fridge so I don't ruin it while cutting into the cake, and then I'll show you the end result, and I'm really excited. So I've gone ahead and I've sliced a piece of this cake, and ta-da! This is what it looks like. I'm going to insert some close-up pictures in the screen somewhere right now so you can really see it up close. I really love the way it looks. I love the candy cane theme throughout the whole cake, the flavor and the look of it, and I really love it. If you slice a piece of this cake for your guests on Christmas, they will be surprised and amazed that the inside looks like this. And you can also use other flavors and other colors to achieve the same effect. It just gets a wow effect when you slice it open. But don't tell them our secret, that it was super easy and fast to make. I have a few cake pops that have been baked already in a cake pop machine. I've baked them for 5 minutes and I used my vanilla cake recipe. Click on the eye above if you want to have this recipe, and I'll leave a link in the description box below as well, so make sure to check it out. And I also have melted candy melt. I melted some brown candy melt. I used the Wilton brand, and I've also melted some coconut oil in it so it is a bit smoother. And here I have some cake pop sticks. So the first thing we'll need to do is dip the cake pop sticks into the candy melt and insert it into the cake pop, and then chill it in the fridge so your cake pops won't fall off the stick when you try to dip the whole cake pop into the candy melt mixture. So just dip it into your candy melt and insert it into your cake pop. So now all the sticks have been dipped into the cake pops, and I'm going to chill it for about 15 minutes in the fridge so the candy melt will set, and then we will continue to dip the cake pops into the candy melt. So the cake pop sticks have been chilling into the cake pops for about 15 minutes in the fridge, and now it's time to dip them in brown candy melt. I like to dip them twice for two reasons. One is that the second layer of candy melt hides all the bumps and irregularities it might have, especially when you use white candy melt. And two, I just like more chocolate flavor, so that's it. You don't necessarily have to dip it twice because it's a dark color, but it makes the surface more smooth, and that's the way I like it. So let's dip our first layer. It's important that you dip the whole cake pop, including this rim of candy melt, so it dries more securely. So just dunk it into the candy melt, hold it close to the top, and then tap it. Tap the excess off. And just continue turning your cake pop stick around so the excess drips off evenly. When there's no excess coming off of your cake pop, you can place it in your stand to dry. So our cake pops have our first layer of candy melt. I'm going to let them set at room temperature. If they're set, it won't stick to your finger anymore, and then we can go on and dip it into our second layer of candy melt. Don't put them in the fridge at this stage because it can condensate and the condensation can't evaporate, so you'll end up with drippy cake pops. So just let them set at room temperature and you'll be fine. So now it's time to dip our cake pops for the second time. I've reheated my candy melt again so it's nice and warm. I already have a bowl of mini pretzels ready here beside me. So when my second layer of candy melt has been dipped, I'm going to attach it straight away so it will dry securely onto my cake pop and it won't fall off. So now we're going to dip it once again in the same way as we did our first layer. And then take a pretzel and just hold it in place for a few seconds so it won't slide off, and then press in the second one. So that is step one. And now we're going to let this dry again before we attach the eyes and the nose. And I will continue to dip the rest. So now our second layer is done and we're actually almost there. We just need to attach the eyes and the nose, but I'm going to let it set at room temperature first so I don't risk the pretzels sliding off just yet. So I'm just going to let it set and I'll be right back. And now we're ready to place the final decorations onto our Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer cake pops. I have some Smarties. I sorted through the whole box to get the red ones for his nose. And I also have some candy eyeballs. They're ready-made and they're from the Wilton brand and they're super easy to use and they're a real time saver. So you don't have to make them out of fondant, but you can do that with some round plunger cutters. But this is, as I said, a time saver, so you can whip up a batch of cake pops really quickly with some pretzels, some Smarties, and some candy eyeballs. So that's good. So I have my candy melt here again, and I have a toothpick, and I'm going to place a bit of candy melt on the back side of my eyeballs and my Smarties, and I'm going to attach it to my cake pops and hold it there for a few seconds again so it will attach and dry to the cake pop and not slide down. So let's begin. And first I'm going to start with his eyes. I want them to be fairly close together because it's a bit cuter that way. And then place your nose in between. And you have to hold this a bit longer because the Smartie is a bit heavier than the candy eyeballs. And that's it. Super cute. Now I'm going to finish the rest of them. So that was our last one. It's super cute, super quick, super easy, and yeah, it won't won't take you a long time to whip these up, and kids will love them. So I can't wait for my son to come home and see these cake pops I made today. I'm going to let him dress up in his own Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer Christmas sweater, and I hope he likes them, and I hope you like them too, and try these out for your own Christmas party. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you haven't subscribed already, please do so by clicking down below, and if you're there, don't forget to click on that notification bell to get notified every week when I've uploaded a new video. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye bye. Mwah.